Hey there, welcome to the show. My name is Mark Dolfini. Man, that's easy for me to say. My name is Mark Dolfini, and I am a life and business strategist. And if you are here, you are probably a business owner. Maybe you're the owner of a family business. Maybe you are involved in a family business, um, generally in the ownership side of it, or you run it. But this show is for you, and it's good to see you. Well, let's get right to it. What today's topic is going to be. People often ask, "What is it that you do at a networking event?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm a life and business strategist." And they're like, "Oh, well, what is that?" And I was actually having a great conversation with someone the other day when I said, "Well, I help business owners figure out what they want to be when they grow up." And they're like, "We need to have coffee." So it was really good conversation. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about specifically now, what is your vision for your marriage? We're going to get to that question in here in just a second, but I'm going to do this a little bit backwards in terms of and asking you, what is your vision? Now, you might be thinking like, well, my vision is 2020. Thank you very much. Now, of course, for those of you who understand what I'm asking, what is your vision for your life? And the reason I ask that is because everything that I teach and I coach is based around the Viper method of how I work through the personal vision, then a business vision, and then create and reverse engineer the business that's going to deliver that personal vision for them, right? Because we don't want to create jobs for ourselves. We don't want to create miserable jobs that we can never quit, we can never be fired from because we work for a maniac, which is generally ourselves. So that's what we're talking about in this. So for those of you who've not watched this before, the Viper method is vision, which includes, so the vision piece includes personal vision and business vision. And we're basically, that is the main circuit breaker. The personal vision is what we're driving towards because, again, our businesses exist to serve us. And when you create a business vision before you create a personal vision, you end up creating a life that exists to serve the business. And that's what we're trying to avoid, right? We want this business to serve us so we can go out and have these great experiences, these great lives and everything else. And, and sometimes life gets cut a little bit short for some folks. So, it's really important that we recognize that the personal vision is really what we're here for. So in terms of the Viper method, we'll fill the rest of that out is, vision, infrastructure, and process. So the infrastructure and process is the system part of the business. Now, part of that process is also strategic planning because now once we've constructed this boat, right? Now we want to go out and do missions with the boat. We've got this battleship, we've got this aircraft carrier. Now we want to take that battle group and go affect war, right? Not necessarily, but I'm just saying we want to go and drive that ship in a particular direction. So that's where the strategic planning part of the process comes in. So again, vision, infrastructure, process, which also includes strategic planning, and then execution, which is E, and then reporting, which is R. So execution is generally where things generally tend to fall apart, and that's when you have the best plan, and you're like, yep, this is a great plan, but you don't do anything. That's where the execution piece comes in. So we have to have our execution really well defined, and then reporting is tracking all of the metrics, those metrics that are lead metrics, that are lag metrics. The lead metrics are the things that we do, and the lag metrics are the results of those activities. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I'm sure that there are for some of you who have heard this before. This is the first time you've heard it. That is the Nichols version of that. So if you're wanting more information, you can go to strategicboardroom.com and get more information on that. But for right now, what I want to do is I want to talk about vision, and specifically, what is your vision? So what is the vision that you're driving towards? What specifically are you wanting in your life? Now, a lot of people in the early days, especially, these are really tough. This is a really tough question for people to answer, and I think it's tough for those of us who live in a free society where we can pick up and live wherever we want. We can choose to do whatever we want. We can want whatever we want. And it's really easy for some of us to say, well, I want all these opportunities. I want all of these things. And it's really hard to start limiting those different things about what we might want, especially for some of us where discovery is a big deal. Like we might want a lot of variety in our life. So that's fine. But there are certainly things that you do want. And maybe some of it you're just saying, hey, look, I just want to leave my options open for discovery. That's fine. But there are probably things in your life that you specifically do want. And that's what I want to talk to you about today is, for example, I've got this specific piece of your, what's your vision for your marriage? Now, for those of you who are married, specifically get really intentional about what you want. What's the vision that you want your marriage to look like? Do you have something written down about what you want your marriage to look like, independent of the other person? Now, obviously, I'm just saying, yes, that also involves the other person. But what is your vision for it? There probably was a reason way back in the day, and I can tell you, honestly, there was a period of time where me and my bride, we were not good. Like there was every reason in the world to so I mean, we were done. Both of us were just absolutely done with the marriage. And when I say by the grace of God, I do mean God's hand was involved in saving our marriage, because there was no way. We were just so stuck on our hurt feelings. We hitched our wagons more to being right, and we just did not want. We weren't willing to give up on that. We weren't willing to walk away from that. So once we set aside our hurt feelings, and we realized that it was more important to be happy, it was more important to stay married than be right, and have our justice, right? Even though I had done things and she had done things, we were willing to set that stuff aside and be committed to our marriage. So we both did create a vision for what we want our marriage to look like, and we wrote that down, and we got really intentional about our direction and our activities. Everything, all the roads led towards that. And I'm saying this honestly, where let's face it, when things aren't right at home, nothing's right anywhere. And I just spent an entire summer back in 2017. I was just in a mental fog where just nothing happened. There was, I spent that summer trying to figure out if I was going to stay married. I wasn't living at home. I was kind of living out of my office, really. And it wasn't a great time for us. And then things got really bad. And then we decided, hey, look, we're either going to do this or we're not doing this. I can't do this halfway stuff anymore. And we got really intentional, and we brought God into our life. We invited him into our life. And that was really what helped start the chain of events, which really helped save us. And we got really intentional. We got really deliberate about what our vision was for our marriage. Now, I can't have a vision for Jen any more than Jen can have a vision for me. But I can say, hey, this is what I would love our marriage to look like on the weekends. And when you hold my hand, or you take my hand, or when you leave me notes, or when you do this, and we were intentional about that. She conveyed that vision to me, and I conveyed that vision to her. And then it was all out in the open in terms of really what we would love our marriage to look like. And man, was it really, really powerful. And I would recommend that people do this not just for their marriages. And if you do go through this exercise, I would love to hear from you. But, do it individually. Everybody should have this contribution, and don't spring this on the other person. If you're like, hey, this is great, and go do this, and you're giving them homework, like that doesn't ever work. Maybe have them watch this video, and maybe things aren't as great in your marriage as maybe they once were in the beginning, or maybe you're a total train wreck and you need some outside professional help. Sure, watch this video, but please get outside assistance, because there was no way we were going to be able to get there on our own. We absolutely positively had help with, marriage counselors and, biblical counselors, and all these people that definitely gave us really, really good advice, and we were listening to a lot of the right people. But specifically when you're thinking about this, you can use this in a lot of different areas of your life. What other areas of your life could you create a vision for specifically? Like, do you have a son or daughter? And if so, what would you want your vision to look like with each one of them? Probably a little bit different, because each one of them is different. I have two sons. One's 18, one is 16 as of a couple days ago. And I have a different vision for each of them, because they're different human beings. And it's not bad or good. It just is. They're different human beings. They have different experiences. They have different interests, and I do have a slightly different vision for them, as I will for my daughter. She's almost 2, and I'm certain I'm gonna have a different vision for her. So for the relationships that are important to you in your life, could you create a vision for what you want that relationship to look like? Could you do that with a friend, or maybe an adult parent, or maybe someone else in your life that is important to you in terms of that relationship? And you can do that in so many different aspects of your life that are truly important to you. So I'm going to land the plane here on this video, but when I'm asking specifically for, the vision, you know, it's easy to start with, the things we want to buy. Man, I really want a fancy car. I want maybe a house that curves with the earth. I want a boat. I want this. I want that. Okay, that's fine if that's something you want. Many of my viewers, many of you do not care about that sort of stuff, which is fine. Again, I'm not saying that you can't want stuff. My whole point here is that if I have stuff, I wanted to accentuate the relationships, not necessarily take the place of relationships. So, and many people who follow me, that they tend to follow that subscribe to that thought, that line of thought as well. But specifically, you can do this about different things. So it's not just the stuff that we have. It's not even necessarily the stuff that you want to do. Of course, you want to travel, you want to explore, you want to go discover, but also don't forget about the state of being, the who you are and who you will be with the folks that really matter to you in your life and in your personal life. So that's it. If you have any other thoughts around this, I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you'd like some additional topics that are related to you specifically, the business owner, the married business owner, or maybe you want to be married, maybe you want a relationship with someone, a committed relationship with someone, and if you've got kids at home, even more, even better, because I want you to recognize that the busyness in our lives, it's not going to slow down, especially when you have kids. And I'm literally at parenting 5.0 right now, and sometimes I just feel like I'm abjectly failing. But I've got an adult son, a teenaged son, and a toddler who is really stretching us in every possible way. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love all my kids, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. So anyway, head over to strategicboardroom.com for additional resources, and you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.